Hey, welcome to our explainer. Today, we're diving into a really powerful spiritual path. We're going to break down three key ideas that you see a lot in our source material: conviction, sincerity, and surrender. Think of them as a roadmap to a much more profound and peaceful way of being.
So let's just jump right in with a question that gets to the heart of it. It's not just asking if you believe something. No, it's asking you to really look inside and figure out how deep that belief actually goes. What's it really built on?
And right away, our source material makes this fascinating distinction. On one hand, you've got relative conviction. That's when you think you're certain, but really you're just on the surface. But then there's absolute conviction. This is a belief so deep, it's totally unshakable. It's kind of like the difference between standing on some loose dirt versus being anchored directly to bedrock. Okay, so let's start where you have to start, the foundation. You can't build anything that lasts on shaky ground, right? So what does true conviction actually mean, according to our source? Now, this is a huge point, and it might be the complete opposite of what you'd expect. See, true conviction isn't about arrogance or thinking you have all the answers. It actually starts with the humility of knowing your own limits. It's that moment you realize your own boundaries that you finally start looking for something beyond them. So once that foundation is in place, once you're aware of your limits, that conviction needs to point somewhere. It needs a direction. And that's where our next big idea, sincerity, comes into play. I just love this quote. It totally reframes the whole idea of sincerity. It's not about just being selfless and expecting nothing at all for what you do. Not at all. It's about being incredibly specific about where you're looking for that ultimate reward. And this slide just lays it out perfectly. Are you putting your hope in creation, in people, in your job, in worldly things to give you that sense of validation or reward? Or is all of your hope aimed directly and only at the source of everything? Sincerity is all about aiming your hope at the right target. And here's where it all clicks together. These ideas aren't just floating around on their own. They're totally connected. The deeper your conviction gets, that awareness of your limits and of a higher power, the more your sincerity naturally gets purified. You just start directing your hope to that one true source. Okay, this all brings us to the very peak of the mountain, the culmination of this whole path. And it's a word that gets misunderstood all the time, but our source gives it this beautiful, active meaning: true surrender. First things first, let's just clear up a huge misconception right now. The source material is crystal clear on this. True surrender is not about giving up. It's not about being lazy or just sitting around waiting for things to happen. It is absolutely not a passive state. So if it's not passive, what is it? Well, look at this redefinition. It's described as the highest form of patience. And get this, it's filled with joy and gratitude. It's this humble, open acceptance that actually creates the space for truth and real guidance to find you. It's active, not defeated. At its core, surrender is really about humility. It's that moment you finally stop fighting, the moment you surrender defeat to your own ego, that little voice that's always convinced it knows best and tries to control everything. It's only when you let go of that arrogance that guidance can actually get through. So we've looked at these three pillars: conviction, sincerity, and surrender. But how do they all lock together? How do they form one single cohesive path? Well, our source material lays it out as a really clear step-by-step process. See, you start by going deep on your conviction, really understanding your limits. That naturally cleans up your sincerity, so you're aiming your hope in the right place. And when you have those two things working together, that's what allows you to reach that state of true, joyful surrender. Here's a really simple way to lock it all in. Conviction is your foundation. It's what you build on. Sincerity is your compass. It makes sure you're pointed in the right direction. And surrender, that's the beautiful result, that state of just joyfully going with a higher will. You can see how each one flows perfectly into the next. So, to wrap up this explainer, I'll leave you with this final thought, a question that comes right from the heart of this material. It's a question that asks us to rethink everything we assume about strength and control. It asks us to consider that maybe, just maybe, our greatest power isn't found in fighting and resisting, but in finally, truly letting go.